Welcome to the Jamul Casino Resort Padres Postgame Show on the Padres Radio Network. Coming up, we'll deliver a full recap of today's game, including highlights from the biggest moments. Listen to Mike Shildt's post-game comments. Plus, we'll bring you today's play of the game. From the Padres Radio Network, here's Sam Levitt.
We are live here at Dodger Stadium in LA. Final score as the Padres drop the middle game of this three-game series. The LA Dodgers 6 and the San Diego Padres nothing. Sam Levitt with you on our Jamul Casino Resort Padres post-game show. Hey player, the all-new Jamul Casino Resort is now open with a Lux Hotel Tower, rooftop pool, spa, and a long list of amazing amenities. You'll have more ways to play and enjoy all the perks of your casino fun. Jamul Casino Resort, the players' place. No doubt about it, a real tough one tonight for the Padres as they have now dropped the first two games of this three-game set in LA. Padres will now try to avoid a sweep at the hands of the Dodgers tomorrow. With the loss, the Padres now fall a game behind LA for first place in the National League West. And oh, by the way, another real negative from the first two games of this series. The Dodgers have now won the season series from the Padres. There is no way the Padres, even if they win tomorrow and Friday, Saturday, Sunday in San Diego next week, there is no way the Padres can win the season series now. So, look, the Dodgers essentially now have a game up on the Padres no matter the situation. This thing ends tied in the NL West when all is said and done, and the Dodgers own the tiebreaker. So you can really think about it that way now. Dodgers have a game lead in the standings, but it's almost like they have a two-game lead because they own the tiebreaker. So that's significant. Obviously, not all is lost for the Padres. Certainly they can salvage the series finale tomorrow, but obviously not the way the Padres wanted the first two games of this series to go. And this was, like Jesse and Tony alluded to throughout the game and in the post-game wrap, this was an uncharacteristic game from the Padres. It was messy and it was not pretty, and everything you need to know about this game really happened in the first two innings. At the end of two innings tonight, I mean, listen to this for a second. At the end of two innings, here was the situation. Dylan Cease had walked 6. 5 of those walks had come into score. There had been one error that led to 2 runs coming in. At the end of 2 innings tonight, the Dodgers had one hit, one single, and they had 5 runs. Offensively for the Padres in the first 2 innings, they had 4 hits, no runs, and they had been caught stealing 3 times. 3 of the first 4 outs of this game within the first 2 innings were recorded via caught stealing. Will Smith throwing out 3 attempted base stealers for the Padres in the first 2 innings. So that told you everything you needed to know right there. I totally set the tone for this game. Look, we can get into the double steal with 2 outs in the first inning. We can get into Bogaerts trying to steal to begin the second inning. Okay, we can get into all that offensively. But look, Dylan Cease came out tonight, and he just did things you can't do. You can't come out and walk Ohtani Betts-Smith to start the game. You can't then walk Pages for the 4th walk in the first inning, and he got burned. Conforto got him for a 2-run single. It became a 3-run first inning, and the Dodgers were in command. And then after that, look, it's only a 3-0 game going to the second inning. Well, Cease comes out, walks Ohtani, a 1-out walk to Smith, and then, look, that ball's got to be caught in right center. Jackson Merrill will say that. Now, there appeared to be miscommunication between Tatis and Merrill, and I think that's certainly attributed to what happened. That's a ball that Merrill catches, 100 times out of 100 if he has to do it again. But he dropped it, and 2 runs came in. But make no mistake, even though that was a big error, and it's something that can happen, especially in a game in a series like this, Dylan Cease still walked 2 in that second inning. And again, out of the 6 walks he issued in the first 2 innings, 5 of them came into score. So the walks were unbelievably costly tonight for Dylan Cease, and the Padres fell behind 5-0 after 2. Blake Snell was good, better than good. He was great. 6 scoreless innings, gave up 5 hits. And again, the tone of this game was set in the first 2 innings. Padres running themselves out of rallies, and Dylan Cease issuing a grand total of 6 walks in 2 innings, and 5 of them came into score. He just did not have it in a big game here tonight, and that's pretty much the ball game. I mean, I know they played 7 innings after that. Teoscar Hernandez would contribute the only other run after the first 2 innings with the solo home run. But the Padres offense, just could not get anything going. They were put in a tough spot, trailing 5-0 after 2 innings. I understand that. But look, in this series now, the first 2 games, the Padres offense that had been really, really good coming in, they now have a grand total of 2 runs in the first 2 games of this series, and they have not scored since the 8th inning of last night's series opener. So we'll see if the Padres can regroup, salvage this series finale tomorrow. But obviously, very uncharacteristic game with the error. This has been a team that has played clean baseball all year. They have not run into outs. Look, getting caught stealing is not necessarily running into outs per se. But, in the first inning, for example, and we'll get into all of it with our game recap, 2 outs, Bogart's at the plate. You already have a runner in scoring position. It's a risky move to try to pull off a double steal there, and they did, and Machado got thrown out at second. And, oh, by the way, on the replay, it looked like Manny might have been safe, but the Padres probably a little hesitant to use their challenge that early in the game. It's a tough spot there, but again, I didn't see every angle of the replay in super slow-mo, but off the initial replay or 2, it looked like there may have been a shot that the Padres would win that challenge if they elected to challenge it. They did not, and, again, first 2 innings of this game just set the tone for the whole game, really. I mean, basically everything that happened in this game happened in the first 2 innings. So a tough night for the Padres. They fall 6-0. We'll see if they can regroup with Yu Darvish on the mound tomorrow. We'll step aside when we come back. We'll have the full game recap, radio highlights. We'll go downstairs, hear from Mike Shildt. Much, much more to do as the Dodgers win it 6-0. And now the Padres will try to avoid a sweep tomorrow here in LA. Our postgame coverage continues after this on the Padres Radio Network.
Imagine having fresh bottled water delivered to your home or
Our Jamul Casino Resort Padres postgame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside Dodger Stadium here in L.A. as we continue to wrap this one up. Dodgers win it 6-0 as they've now won the opening two games of this three-game series. We have our game recap, the radio highlights coming up in a moment. We'll also go downstairs inside the Padres clubhouse here from Mike Shildt in just a little bit as well, so stay tuned for all that. Before we get to all that, I'm going to go a little bit off script here because a big topic of conversation for those of you who watch on YouTube, even if you don't watch on YouTube, you're listening on the radio right now. A big topic of conversation has been where I am here in Dodger Stadium, because if you watch on YouTube, I'll admit the back of the booth here does not look like much, but rest assured, I'm going to literally take my laptop and whirl it around here. Rest assured, there is the field right there. I actually have a beautiful view of the field. It's right behind home plate, and it's actually a very nice setup here in Los Angeles at Dodger Stadium, where I have a great seat right behind home plate. So yes, the back may not look like much, but where I actually am is just fine. So all of you watching at home or on your phone or wherever you might be, you don't have to worry about me, okay? Now I've shown you exactly where I am in my view of the field, and I'm not in a closet here in Dodger Stadium, okay? So now I've proved it to you all who watch on YouTube and whatnot. Back to baseball. Let's recap this one from start to finish.
Which moments determine the outcome of today's game? We'll paint you a picture with our game highlights on the Padres Radio Network.
Our starting pitching matchup here today, Dylan Cease against Blake Snell. In the top of the first inning, Fernando Tatis Jr. hit a leadoff single. He was caught trying to steal second base. Luis Ariz doubled. Manny Machado hit an infield single. With two outs, they tried a double steal. Machado was thrown out at second base. The inning was over. So yes, the Padres had two caught stealings in that opening frame. Then the bottom half of the inning, Dylan Cease issued three consecutive walks to start the game. With one out, Teoscar Hernandez hit a sac fly that scored. Shohei Ohtani made it a 1-0 game. Cease then walked another to load the bases again. The count went to 3-2 on Michael Conforto.
Runners go. The pitch is lined into right field and a base hit. Betts has scored. Smith is right behind him. A 2-run single for Conforto. And the first hit of the night for the Dodgers makes it 3-0 here in the bottom of the first.
So those first three walks by Cease, they all came in to score. And by the way, Cease would walk one more in that first inning. So the Padres trail 3-0 going to the second. Xander Bogaerts led off with a single. He was then thrown out by Will Smith trying to steal second base. Padres didn't score in that inning. So again, Padres in their first two innings offensively, they had 4 hits, no runs, and they had been caught stealing 3 times. In the bottom half of the second, Cease issued 2 more walks, number 5 and number 6 on the night. With runners on first and second, it was Freddie Freeman.
3-0. Freddie swings at the first pitch, sends it high and deep to right center field. Merrill and Tatis are there, and Merrill had it and dropped it on the warning track. Ohtani will score. Smith will score. Freeman is standing at second base, and it has been that kind of night so far at Dodger Stadium. 5-0 LA.
Yeah, that kind of night in the first 2 innings of the game. It looked like Merrill and Tatis had a little bit of confusion out there as to who was going to take charge and catch that ball in the right center field alley. However, it certainly should have been caught. Merrill had it, dropped it, and 2 runs came in, made it a 5-0 game. Cease got out of the second without giving up any more. Blake Snell, meanwhile, he settled in. He got through 5 scoreless innings. Dylan Cease lasted just 3 innings and a third. He walked 6, allowed 5 runs, and 3 earned. In the bottom half of the fifth, David Morgan was on the mound. He gave up a 2-out solo home run to Teoscar Hernandez. It was 6-0 Dodgers. Snell went 6 scoreless innings. Padres bullpen did a good job keeping the score where it was. Yuki Matsui pitched the scoreless 6th inning. Ron Marinaccio a scoreless 7th, a scoreless 8th, but the Dodger bullpen, they were good too. After Snell went 6, Edgardo Enriquez went an inning and a third scoreless. Anthony Banda got a couple of outs, and Jack Dreyer pitched a scoreless 1-2-3 9th inning. And that was it here tonight. Very quick recap for you, because as we said in the opening segment, everything you need to know about this game basically happened in the first 2 innings. The final totals here tonight for LA, 6 runs, 5 hits, and no errors. And for the Padres, no runs, 6 hits, and 1 error. Again, the Dodgers improved to 70-53. Padres dropped to 69-54. And with the win, the Dodgers now take sole possession of first place in the National League West. Padres will try to avoid a sweep at the hands of the Dodgers tomorrow here in LA. When we come back, we'll hear from Mike Shildt as we continue our post-game coverage after this on the Padres Radio Network.
Stay tuned to the Jamul.
Our Jamul Casino Resort Padres postgame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Hey, player, the all-new Jamul Casino Resort is now open with a Lux Hotel Tower rooftop pool in San Diego's newest spa. It's a VIP gaming experience like no other Jamul Casino Resort. The Players Place. Sam Levitt with you back here at Dodger Stadium in LA. Dodgers shut out the Padres here tonight by a final of 6-0. And as we've said now throughout the first couple of segments tonight here on the post game, really everything you need to know about this game happened in the first 2 innings. And to sum it up quickly, through 2 innings, Dylan Cease had walked 6. 5 of those walks had scored. There was one very big error on a drop fly ball by Jackson Merrill in right center. That led to 2 of those walks coming in. And at the end of 2 innings tonight, the Dodgers had 1 single. They had scored 5 runs, and the Padres had 4 hits. They had no runs through 2 innings, and they had been caught stealing 3 times through 2 innings of this game. Offensively, Padres didn't have a whole lot going tonight. 6 hits total. Blake Snell was very good. 6 shutout innings, and that was basically the story here tonight as the Dodgers cruised to a 6-0 win after taking a 5-0 lead in the first 2 innings. Let's go downstairs here at Dodger Stadium and hear from Mike Shildt.
Office and hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt. Served up by Sin Lee Food, where fresh meets flavor. Find farm fresh produce, bold Asian spices, and gourmet ingredients at 4665 El Cajon Boulevard. Sin Lee Food, the cook's Asian resource.
Like so often we've seen Dylan struggle early on, but he seems to find it. Just one of those nights where he kind of never got the feel on the release point.
Actually, I thought he did get it just too late. I mean, he was able to grab a clean third in the fourth. At that point, the pitch counts up. But yeah, it took him a while to get into his rhythm. That's for sure.
Yeah. On the other hand, Blake Snell being Blake Snell, basically.
I thought we did a nice job. It's a very disciplined club over there. They're disciplined with Dylan. Yeah, Blake did the ball well, but I thought our bats were good and disciplined early and, weren't giving in. And, he pitched well with the lead, so give him credit.
Yeah. The play with Jackson is so unusual to see him make a misplay like that. Just a miscommunication with him and Fernando. I'm trying to get to it later.
Yeah, again, our defense has been outstanding. Those guys have been phenomenal. Our outfield's been as good as anybody in the league. And some days, balls fall.
What did you see the challenge for Dylan being early on?
Just consistency of finding where he wanted to throw it.
The concern is at this point in the season, you've got some really good Dylan starts, but you're not kind of sure what Dylan you're going to get.
Dylan's been good since the All-Star break. He wasn't as sharp tonight. I'm not going to be overly concerned about it. Back of the baseball card proves, a lot of positive things. So he'll be back out there sooner rather than later, and I'll be looking forward to it.
Stolen bases with caught stealings, you're happy with the aggressiveness there?
Listen, that was an odd game. I had to get thrown out. We had a plan, and, they made some plays, and when you're down, it hurts a little bit more. But, it's an odd game when you out hit a team and lose 6-0.
How close were you guys to maybe challenging the Manning steal? It's the first inning. It's risky.
I don't know whether we couldn't get an angle. I just didn't get any feedback.
All right, that was Padres manager Mike Shildt inside the Padres clubhouse just moments ago as the Padres fall 6-0 to the Dodgers here tonight. Let's talk about offensively the first two innings, because we've talked a lot about Cease, and obviously there were issues there. You can't walk 6 guys in 2 innings and just putting yourself in a really, really tough spot. It was interesting in the first 2 innings. The Padres, to Mike's point, we're working good at bats against Blake Snell early on. Tatis has a good at bat. He singles. He then gets caught stealing. Okay, you know what? Caught stealing. I actually really like Fernando running. I sometimes think he should run more. He gets thrown out. Okay, not the end of the world. Luis Ariz, then a double. Runner on second base, 1 out. Machado infield single. Then Merrill flies out. And with Bogaerts at the plate, that's when the Padres tried to pull off the double steal. And look, that's a spot where if you're going to pull off a double steal with 2 outs and a runner already in scoring position, you really want it to be a situation where you have that double steal, in hand. And Will Smith threw down to second base. The trail runner got Manny again on the replay. I did not see the super slow-mo, but on the initial couple of replays I saw here in the booth, look, it looked like Manny might have been safe, and the Padres had obviously a decision to make as to whether to challenge it or not, use that challenge and potentially lose it if they didn't win it in the first inning, and they decided not to. Now, look, I don't know how that process goes, right? What the information that is relayed in that short amount of time from the replay room is. I don't know if the Padres felt like they didn't have a good enough angle on it, or if it wasn't a sure thing enough to use that challenge early on. I'm not 100% familiar with their game plan day to day as far as when to use a challenge, how aggressive to be with them early, but it was the first inning. But look, it did look like on the replay there was a chance the Padres would win that challenge. But look, it took him out of the rally in that first inning. Then Bogaerts leads off the first with a single. He gets thrown out trying to steal second. And again, it was just a weird and sort of ugly opening 2 innings where you had this weird stat line again, where the Dodgers had 5 runs on 1 single and the Padres had no runs on 4 hits, and they had been caught stealing 3 times. So it was just an odd first couple of innings, and unfortunately, look, I can call it odd, but the Padres trailed 5-0 after 2 innings and, put them in a real tough spot tonight. So unfortunate the way it went. We'll see if they can bounce back tomorrow. We'll step aside when we come back, get to our daily awards, full look at the out-of-town scoreboard, much more to do as the Padres fall 6-0 on this Saturday. And we'll continue to wrap this one up when we return on the Padres Radio Network.
Tony Gwynn Jr. here. Upgrade your outdoor
Our Jamul Casino Resort Padres post-game show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside Dodger Stadium here in LA as we continue to wrap this one up. Final score, Dodgers 6 and the Padres nothing. This West Coast Series showdown against the team from Los Angeles is presented by Palomar Health, reimagining healthcare. All right, Padres fall tonight 6-0 against the LA Dodgers. Let's tell you about our relief pitcher of the game.
Which pitcher entered the game and slammed the door shut? This is today's relief pitcher of the game, presented by David P. Shapiro Criminal Defense Attorneys. When your freedom and future are on the line, you need the best arm in the pen. Visit davidpshapirolaw.com.
Our relief pitcher of the game here tonight, I'll hand it to Ron Marinaccio. I'll tell you what, it's a 6-0 game, but Marinaccio did a good job in the 7th and 8th innings, getting through those innings quickly. 2 innings, 1 hit given up, no runs, and he made sure that the Padres would not have to use any other reliever in this game. And the bottom line is, look, I know the score wasn't what the Padres wanted, what you wanted out there listening. However, keep in mind, the Padres don't have an off day until next Monday. They're going to play through next Sunday against the Dodgers without an off day. So it will be very important to save arms when they can. And Ron Marinaccio going 2 innings scoreless in the back end of this game certainly did that. So I'll give it to Ron Marinaccio, who was up from AAA El Paso earlier today. Randy Vasquez getting optioned back to AAA earlier today. So the Padres had a fresh arm in their bullpen, did a good job, 2 scoreless innings. He is our relief pitcher of today's game. Let's hear today's catch of the game.
Which defensive play had the biggest impact on today's game?
He is at the wall, leaps up, and he makes the catch.
This is the catch of the game.
Gonna hang a star for Jackson Merrill.
Reeled in by Anthony's Fish Grotto La Mesa, celebrating 80 years of seafood excellence.
And Matsui pops it up. Foul ground, first base. Arise over to the dugout railing. Able to reach into the dugout and make the catch. That'll end the inning. And a really good bit of defense by Luis Arise to get Ohtani out for the first time tonight.
Yeah, really nice play by Luis by the railing of the first base dugout. And that was today's catch of the game. Let's tell you about the heart of the Padres order.
Let's take the pulse of the Padres and check in on the heart of the order, presented by Palomar Health, the official healthcare provider of 97.3 The Fan. Palomar Health, leading with heart for every patient. Palomar Health is reimagining healthcare.
Part of the order tonight, Manny, Merrill, and Bogarts, 3-4-5 in the Padres lineup. Manny Machado went 1 for 3. Jackson Merrill 0 for 4. Xander Bogaerts 1 for 4. So combined, the 3-4-5 spots went 2 for 11 with a couple of singles. That's a quick look at the heart of the order tonight, what the Padres did against Blake Snell and the Dodger bullpen. Again, the Padres scoring no runs on 6 hits. I mean, how about this? No runs on 6 hits for the Padres. The Dodgers scored 6 runs on only 5 hits in this game. Again, there was a moment in this game, I got to be honest with you, at the end of 2 innings when I wrote this down where there was somebody to my right, and I wrote it down and I said out loud, I said, the Dodgers have 1 single and they have 5 runs right now. And I was just flabbergasted at it. So it was that kind of night. And a box score line that doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but that's the way it went tonight as the Dodgers win it 6-0. We'll step aside when we come back. A full look at the out-of-town scoreboard play of the game. We'll get you ready for tomorrow's Sunday matinee to wrap up this series in LA. Our Jamul Casino Resort Padres post-game show continues after this.
You're listening to the Jamul Casino Resort Padres postgame show, brought to you by the all-new Jamul Casino Resort, the Players' Place.
Silver Strand Technology prides itself on providing top-notch technology services for every sector, including commercial,
Our Jamul Casino Resort Padres post-game show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Final score, Dodgers 6 and the Padres nothing. Padres will try to avoid a 3-game sweep here in L.A. tomorrow. We'll preview tomorrow's starting pitching matchup in just a moment. First, let's take a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard.
Let's take a trip around the bigs to highlight the scores that matter most with our out-of-town scoreboard. Presented by Jensen Premium Beef Patties. Always a hit for grilling.
We have one game still going on right now. A's ahead of the Angels, 6-1 in Sacramento in the 8th inning. Cubs beat the Pirates at Wrigley Field 3-1 earlier today. The Blue Jays beat up on the Rangers 14-2 in Toronto. George Springer coming off the IL before that game. Nationals beating the Phillies 2-0 in D.C. James Wood, a 2-run double in that game for the Nationals. That was the game-deciding hit. To be honest with you, though, that was not the biggest news of the day for the Phillies, the fact that they lost in D.C. Zach Wheeler, their ace, he was put on the IL with a blood clot close to his right shoulder. Very, very concerning news about Zach Wheeler. And, of course, you have to wonder about his status. I would imagine perhaps the rest of this season. So very, very unfortunate news. Zach Wheeler going on the IL with what was reported as a blood clot near his right shoulder. So that was big news out of Philadelphia today. Red Sox beat the Marlins 7-5 at Fenway Park. The Mets beat the Mariners 3-1 in New York. Nolan McLean making his major league debut. He went 5 1/3 scoreless innings in that one for the Mets. The Brewers continue to roll, a record-setting 14th consecutive win. That is a new Brewer franchise record, and they had to absolutely earn it. They trailed 2-1 heading into the 9th inning. They tied it at 2. Then the Brewers and the Reds each scored a run in the 10th inning to make it a 3-3 game. Then the Brewers got an Andrew Monasterio 3-run home run in the top of the 11th inning to take a 6-3 lead. Reds would then score 2 in their half of the 11th inning, but the Brewers hang on for a 6-5 win in Cincinnati. The Brewers are now 78-44, and they set a new franchise record with a 14th consecutive win. What a year it has been in Milwaukee. Braves beat the Guardians 10-1 in Cleveland. Astros over the Orioles in 12, 5-4 in Houston. Royals beat the White Sox 6-2 in Kansas City. Tigers beat the Twins 8-5 in Minnesota. Yankees beat the Cardinals 12-8 in St. Louis. The Rockies beat the Diamondbacks 10-7 in Colorado. And finally, Rays beat the Giants 2-1 in San Francisco. Giants have now lost 7 in a row. And that is a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard on this Saturday across the major leagues. The West Divisional Showdown against Los Angeles is presented by Palomar Health, reimagining healthcare. Again, the Dodgers win it tonight 6-0 in the middle game of this 3-game set. Let's hear tonight's play of the game.
The line between winning and losing can be razor thin. Which play was the difference between victory and defeat? This is today's Play of the Game, presented by Bill Howe Plumbing, Heating, and Air.
Runners go. The pitch is lined into right field and a base hit. Betts has scored. Smith is right behind him. A 2-run single for Conforto. And the first hit of the night for the Dodgers makes it 3-0 here in the bottom of the first.
Well, trust me, it doesn't make me happy for that to be our play of the game, but it is tonight. Michael Conforto turning that first inning from a 1-run opening frame to a 3-run bottom half of the first inning for LA. I'll tell you another reason why it was such a critical moment in the game. Cease had Conforto 3-2, so he was 1 strike away from getting out of what had been a 4-walk first inning with only 1 run given up, but he couldn't do it. Conforto 2-run single. Dodgers ahead 3-0, and you just felt at the time like it had become a really rough first inning for Dylan Cease and the Padres. So Conforto 2-run single first inning. Unfortunately, our play of the game here tonight as the Dodgers go on to win it 6-0. As always, if you missed any portion of our post-game coverage, you can go back and listen to all of it on the Inside San Diego Baseball podcast, available on the Odyssey app or wherever you find your podcasts. You can also go back on the 97.3 The Fan YouTube channel and watch any portion of our post-game coverage there in video form. Taking a look ahead to tomorrow, it'll be a day game here at Dodger Stadium. First pitch tomorrow here in LA at 1:10. Right-hander Yu Darvish on the mound for the Padres. By the way, Yu turning 39 today, so a very happy birthday to you. So he'll make the start tomorrow. His first start at 39 years old against right-hander Tyler Glasnow on the mound for the Dodgers. Again, first pitch tomorrow at 1:10 from Los Angeles. Taking a look at the final totals here tonight for the Dodgers. 6 runs, 5 hits, no errors. They left on 5. For the Padres, no runs, 6 hits, 1 error. They left on 6. Blake Snell, the winning pitcher. He's now 3-1. Dylan Cease, the losing pitcher. He's now 5-11. Time of game tonight, 2 hours and 33 minutes. And the crowd at Dodger Stadium here in LA at Chavez Ravine, 53,606. Once again, first pitch tomorrow, 1:10. Pregame coverage begins at 12:10. Until then, for our great studio coordinator, Bobby Sharton, I'm Sam Levitt saying so long and good night from Los Angeles. Again, the final score here tonight, the Los Angeles Dodgers 6 and the San Diego Padres 0. We'll talk to you tomorrow afternoon right here on the Padres Radio Network. Have a great rest of your Saturday.